Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. So I hope everyone is having a great day, a beautiful evening, and staying warm with this dang snow that we have outside. I mean, I don't know where you're at, but where I'm at, it's probably the most snow we've had in a long time, and I'm already sick of it. I'm a spring baby. I love 70 degrees, 75 degrees all year round. If that's what it was, I'd be totally happy right now. So I'm so looking forward to the snow going out the door. Anyways, alright. So, um, as I'm getting prepared for this video, I've noticed that all my pieces keep coming off, so I'm definitely going to have to come with a different idea to make these stick. If anyone has any suggestions, go ahead and let me know. The pieces aren't really big enough to put a pin in them, so I was trying to think if there was a certain type of glue I could use that maybe won't tear up my pieces, because I noticed the last video I made, as I took off the pieces, they actually got a little bit ripped from the tape I had, but the tape isn't sticking to the corkboard. So yeah, so I'm going to try to make this video a little bit brief and get right to the point, as you see my extra popping up over there in that corner. So tonight's affirmation is, it is safe to heal and grow and bloom. Now, if anybody's been through a breakup or an obstacle or any type of challenge in your life, it takes some time to get over it, to process it and let it go. Now, if that ain't the biggest thing I've heard in the majority of the past few years of my life, is just let it go. Just let it go, Starla. It's not that big of a deal. Just let it go. Now, I must tell you that can't nobody, and yes, I just said can't nobody, tell you when or how long you're supposed to take on healing from anything in your life. You as an individual, you have your own feelings, your own time in processing mentally of what it is that you went through, and you have your own coping mechanisms. We are not the same as the next person. So what I may suggest in any of these videos may not work for you, and that's okay. But I'm all open to suggestions, and I only speak from experience. So what I share on these videos is specifically what I've tried to invest in my own healing process and what has worked for me. Now, I might throw out a couple pointers that may say, didn't work for me, and may be good for another person. So, yeah. So I just want to add that the first thing you got to do is trust the process. As long as you are motivated to coming out of that space of pain and disappointment and sadness, the first step is just admitting that you don't want to be in that spot, in that position. So you have to trust yourself enough that you'll eventually get over it, and you'll eventually come up out of it, and you'll be happy. And if not the same person, you will be more wiser, and you'll be more determined to not put yourself through that same situation that you're healing from. Now, secondly, you know, I went around a lot of times saying, I'm just broken. I'm broken. I don't know how I'm supposed to come up out of this. I don't know how I'm supposed to cope. I don't know what to do. I've tried every single route. It's just not working for me. I don't know what to do. I would cry, and then I would, feel better for a few days or a few weeks or a few months, and then I think my son hit his head on his bed. Be expecting some distractions or interruptions in these videos. If I do, I will stop and pause, and I will continue. So, yeah. So there was those moments where I just felt like I wasn't going to be able to get through it, and I just didn't know what to do. Again, it comes with the process. You got to trust the process, because when you know that you're getting closer to mending or healing that wound that you're suffering from. Now, my favorite motto that I've grown up through life is, it gets worse before it gets better. It's like the baby steps of healing. Yeah, they're severe and they're intense. But right when you get so close to that breaking point of finally breaking through of that disappointment, it's going to hit like a ton of bricks on your everything. On your world is just going to come crashing down, because you're going to be like, hold up, I thought I done got through this. I thought I done healed over this. But no, there's going to be something. It's called trigger points. It could be something small, it could be something simple, it might not even have anything to do with the person or the situation that you're healing from. But it is common to be triggered, to go through that whole painful process all over again. But as long as you don't fight it and you work through it and you find, like, ways to be able to make it easier to get through, then that's, it's another stepping stone to your healing process. So what I would like to add is that a lot of the times whenever I go through certain things in my life, I'm very sensitive to other people's emotions. So can you only imagine how sensitive I am to my own? I'm very expressive. Whenever I feel some type of way, or if I'm down and out, I most definitely express my feelings. And it's nothing against anybody. It's just I have, that idea of, if I keep my mouth shut, then how would anybody ever know what I'm feeling? And how would I ever expect them to respect or treat me with, sensitive to whatever I was feeling? Which, you know, that's where it comes to my next topic, is sometimes people aren't going to accept your feelings, and they're not going to understand, and they're not going to um, pay you any type of empathy for what it is that you're going through. And I would like to add that I got told stop being extra a lot. And, at first it kind of like, it was one of my trigger points. Like, I didn't like hearing it, because I was just thinking, like, am I really being over dramatic? Am I really being too sensitive about the topic? Am I really even ready to even be talking about what I'm going through? Am I even level headed enough to even be discussing what it is that I'm feeling? But I have learned that it's not a big deal to express yourself. We don't have enough, what's the term I'm looking for? We don't have enough, oh goodness, it's not being taught enough to us as children to be able to express certain feelings in certain situations. Like the generation above me, I'm an 80s baby. I was born in 87. Now I know anybody who was born in the 60s and above, they went through a time frame where they didn't express what they were going through, or their feelings, or their trials, or their obstacles. And so, they learned how to accept what they were going through in a completely different manner than you would say, like, my generation or below me. Now we have alternative, routes to be able to seek healing in our situations, with therapy and medications, and just the list goes on. But I, for one, I'm not really big on medication. I am very willing to, seek therapy if I feel like I need it, and I do seek a therapist, because some, if there's one thing I have learned is, you're not going to you're not going to gain that insight from someone who might also be going through their own problems. Again, with the whole situation of what I went through, and what worked for me may not work for you. But you're going to come across people who you may feel comfortable with, but opening up to them and talking to them, it's going to feel pointless, because you're going to still feel that type of, frustration or upsetting vibe that you had before, and you may or may not get bad advice. And I've received bad advice before, and I went with it, and I allowed it to alter how I made decisions with what I healed from. And all it did was just make it more complicated and difficult to get over the process and the situation. So just be mindful of who you talk to, who you open up to, but also be open to different perspectives and routes of how to get over things. I've learned, as now as an adult, and one who is mature and responsible, when I try to be. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do have my moments. But don't go to somebody who isn't progressing in some shape or form in their life. Like, for example, like, don't go to somebody for relationship advice if they've never had a healthy relationship and they're divorced, or they have a whole lot of in and out of people in their life. Don't go to them, because apparently they don't know how to keep someone in their life, or the relationship aspects of that are important. Now, if you I don't think that, talking to somebody who is single can either work to your benefit or work to your disadvantage. It can go either or, because you have some people who are single because they choose to be, and some people who are single because they know their worth and aren't going to settle. So just keep that in mind whenever you speak to single people with relationship advice. And then secondly, when you're trying to say, figure out how you're going to present something or talk to somebody in order to rehash things or mend situations. Don't go to somebody who is hostile and arrogant and, treats people like shit, because more than likely they're going to give you advice like, hey, yeah, fuck that person. Oh, just a little pointer. I do cuss. If anybody has a problem with that, you know where to go. So, anyways. Yeah, so you have people that will steer you in the wrong direction, and I've learned that if you speak out of ego, it does not make the situation better. And you can tell when you get to a healing point in your life, and you get to that period in your life to where you know what to deal with and what to, like, manifest into your life. You don't want to speak to people out of bitterness and anger and pain, because more than likely it has nothing to do with them, and it's all personal. How you speak to others is a reflection of yourself, what you're lacking, what you don't feel good about, what you don't believe in yourself, what you deny on a regular. Like, it is a reflection of yourself. So keep that in mind whenever you're communicating out of feelings and not out of logical sense. So yeah, I know that was a whole lot, and I really wanted to keep this video short because my pieces were falling off, but they're not falling off now, so, yeah. So just know that you will get through it. It's not going to be tomorrow, or, it's not going to be next week. If anybody's actually loved and been heartbroken, that takes time. If anybody's ever lost a job that they depended on, that takes time. If anybody's ever lost a loved one, that takes time. It takes time. And you will grow out of it, and you will bloom. And just a little lovely reminder, the dirt that people throw on you while you are growing and while you are healing is only fertilizer to help you become a beautiful new species of flower. You're not the same as the next person. So remember that. You are your own individual. You shine, and with your own shiny being, your own purpose. And if there's one thing that I've learned as well, is we all feel like we have a purpose. The only purpose you have to live is to be yourself. That's it. You are allowed to be you. Don't let nobody ever make you feel like you're supposed to be anything different or anybody else. You are you. You are beautiful. You are capable. You are strong. You will get through it. If you need this message tonight, then I hope that you are filled with all this warmth and love and light through this message, and that know that you are not alone, and that you have all the features and mechanisms within your own self to pull yourself up out of any dark spot or any sadness. You are allowed to cry. You are allowed to feel every single emotion that you feel. You got to feel it to heal it. You accept it, and then you let it go. But don't forget, those trigger points, they're real. And be prepared. The deeper you go far within your healing, the easier the healing process will be throughout it. So, I don't know if that made any sense. Probably a lot of the things that don't make sense, but they make sense to me, and I'm sure if you are drawn to this video, it'll make sense to you too. So I hope everybody has a lovely, blessed evening. So much love and light to each and every one of you all. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe now for further videos. Have a good day, have a good night, and don't forget to be yourself. Have a good night, guys.